Yeah.
We're just doing some yoga as we're starting the
Balancing.
show. Just trying.
Namaste.
Trying to warm up a little bit. Thanks so much for joining us for Talk Pittsburgh. Hope you're having a great Tuesday before the chaos of the evening begins. We've got a great hour of conversation and some good news too.
Yeah, a lot of good conversation, right? And a lot of good chaos, I would say. All right, so have you ever thought about the qualities it takes to make a principal really stand out and how the best ones can shape an entire school community? Hear from a few MVP school leaders who are setting the standard.
Plus, sweet, savory, and a little bit spirited. Today's kitchen segment is bringing the best of both worlds as we celebrate two food holidays.
Oh, sign me up. And next, what's in Pittsburgh's pockets? According to the city, it could be a multi-million-dollar hole. What it means for us and the fun ideas Pittsburghers have for the city, that's today's Table Talk.
That and so much more coming up this hour. First, Pittsburgh, let's get you caught up on your hometown headlines in your bird's eye view in under 90 seconds.
I can't tell you how many people have asked me, what's going to happen here?
Right.
You know, where am I going to park? Well, the most important thing is to figure out what you want to do draft week. And actually, you need to take action about that now.
This is the week, if there were ever a week to use mass transit.
If you are going to come downtown, don't wait. Lock in your parking now.
I know I've been talking about rebelling against the coat, but I will say this morning, I put my heated seat on and my heated steering wheel, so, I mean, maybe I'm not doing so well as far as rebelling against the coat.
You turned on the heat.
You know what? Judgy Wudgy was a bear.
There you go.
Salt and Peppa and TLC are joining forces for a co-headlining tour along with special guest In Vogue. Tickets for the It's Iconic tour go on sale this Thursday.
We told you a couple weeks ago about how Pittsburgh native Ashley Marina was on The Voice.
Okay, so last night she entered the second round.
She was sent home, but she did fantastically. We love it when she's on the show, and we're gonna have her on the show next week to hear all about what this journey was like.
She's amazing.
She really is.
Ashley is so good. She has such a bright future ahead of her. Well, the city is broke. Yep, an $8 million deficit will definitely do it. And leave it to Reddit to try and find some creative solutions. Heather, how did this all start?
You know, it's hard to poke fun at something so serious, but here's the deal. When news broke earlier this month that there was an $8 million deficit in the city of Pittsburgh budget and a budget gap between $30 and $40 million, there have been a lot of conversations about how to fix this, and there have been real, meaningful conversations happening. But first, let's turn to Reddit for some humor on an otherwise serious matter. So this is the original post on Reddit asking for a creative way to help generate revenue to cover this. I will say they called it a deficit in the post. The city is calling it a budget gap, so take that for what it is. But let's get into some of the solutions Reddit users threw out, including this one. Getting a lot of response. Bob Nutting dunk tank, $100 a throw, and you could pay $150 to let Skeens throw it for you.
Oh.
Okay, there's that one. And then there's this. Do you remember years ago when there was talk about a zip line in the city? So here's this one. Zip line from Mount Washington to the NFL draft stage, $1,000 per ride. If people are paying $1,000 for a hotel night, I feel like they would do this, right?
Absolutely.
And then there's this, which I actually like, quote, by holding the best darn talent show this city has ever seen, end quote. That one had us laughing.
Yeah.
There was one that I wasn't sure everybody would get, but it was one of my favorites. There was one from a comment that, from one user that said, what if we made our coffee at home, skip the avocado toast, and pull ourselves up by the bootstraps?
Okay, I get it.
Do you understand?
I understand.
It's clearly making a pun of what some older generations say millennials do, and that's
Right.
why we're broke.
Well, we love our avocado toast. So I know at least I do. I'll speak for myself.
We want to dig into some of the things that are actually happening, though, because we know that this is a serious matter and people are worried about what's going to happen next for the city.
Yeah, and for that, we want to bring in KDK investigator Andy Sheehan. So he's been following this entire thing since the news broke. And Andy, we're so glad that you can be here today to start this conversation.
I know you're a big Buccos fan, too. Would you pay $100 for the dunk tank idea? No, you're like, no comment, no comment.
How about
here.
the zip line? 1,000? Yeah. Yeah. All right. So, Andy, we want to know, where do things stand right now? Today is the day that the Mayor O'Connor said that he was opening up the budget.
Right.
Right.
So they're going to go over this budget with a fine-tooth comb, try to find any kind of extraneous expenditures to cut back on. They're going to not fill certain positions that they ordinarily would have. They're going to cut some contracts, and just like by 1,000 cuts, the mayor is saying, you know, we're going to try to
get it down to where it needs to be.
Get this thing down.
Well, okay, so I think how did we get here is a big question that a lot of people have. And then most taxpayers, I think, are going to be worried that for them, this is going to mean higher taxes.
No, the mayor is committed not to raise taxes, but the long story here is that the pandemic hit, and it hit Pittsburgh hard. It hit cities across the country hard. Downtown real estate went into free fall, and that's where you get, you know, a lot of your property tax revenue. You know,
there was the pandemic relief fund too. That's drying up.
Right. So to help cities out under the Biden administration and the Trump administration, there was a lot of money that was pumped into these cities. So what we've done over the past couple of years is spend.
Yeah.
You know, spend money that we didn't have. Now that pandemic money has dried up, and you know we still have the same problems. So, you know, we spent $8 million more than we had last year. The O'Connor administration says, as the budget stands right now, we're $30 to $40 million.
Crazy.
Wow.
So much money.
So where does that money come from? If you're saying no to a possibility and increase of taxes, you're trying to think, like, how do we make up such a huge deficit?
It's a lot of money, and what the O'Connor administration is saying, the Gainey administration did, was they got into our surplus, our rainy day fund. They got into the park tax. The city has a park tax. Instead of putting that into the parks, they put it into payroll, right? So the O'Connors are saying we can't do that if we were mortgaging the future.
Right.
So they're going to have to make cuts, a lot of cuts, and try to shore it up. But, you know, the long term here is what they're saying is that, you know, they can't cut their way out of this problem, that they really have to grow Pittsburgh. If you remember, before the pandemic, Pittsburgh was like the darling.
2015.
And that's right.
It was like the highlight.
That's right. And we were just poised to become, you know, like the it city.
Right.
You got this press all over the country, all over the world, and that's kind of dried up. So now the draft is coming, right?
Right. Well, and I think a lot of people have questions about that too. We're saying we're short all this. Now it's not going to make up $30 million, but that should bring in some money, right?
Well, it's going to bring in parking. It's going to bring hotel tax, you know, this kind of thing. It's going to maybe regenerate downtown to somewhat. But what the city is really hopeful of is that it will put us on the national map and may spur, you know, new companies to come here, development.
Right.
You know, the mayor is really saying we have to grow our way out of this crisis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
really
Interesting stuff. Andy, thank you.
Thank you
I know
so
it's going to be a
much.
busy day today too.
All right.
All right. All right, well, before we head to break, here's our junior achievement question of the week. Caitlin Clark is the face of women's basketball, but she isn't the highest paid female athlete.
So who took home a massive $34 million last year? Was it tennis player Coco Gauff, basketball player Sophie Cunningham, or golfer Nelly Korda?
Scan the QR code with your phone or head to kdka.com/connect to vote. We will reveal the answer on tomorrow's show.
And still to come today, not all TV goodbyes are created equal. Some, like the departure of Simon and Bridgerton, that still hurts. So which one still stings a little bit for you? Your answers are coming up in today's 3 o'clock drop.
Oh, and she's making art from what you throw away. Well, this brings us the story, a new take on cleaning up our communities and seeing beauty in unexpected places.
First, though, we are heading to the kitchen for 2 easy recipes celebrating National Cheesesteak Day and National Cocktail Day. We're going to see how these classic flavors are getting a whole new spin. Talk Pittsburgh will be right back.
Pairings just make sense. Peanut butter and jelly, milk and cookies, and today, cheesesteaks and cocktails.
I mean, yeah.
Why not?
Are you questioning it?
Not at all.
Not at all, right? We are all in on this. It is National Cheesesteak Day and also National Cocktail Day, but we're not doing things the traditional way. Of course, we're not. Jen Clark from Great Cooking School is turning these into recipes that are a little unorthodox, but also, I think, more fun to eat.
I agree.
Right?
Good. We're glad you agree.
So look, we have these little like espresso martini desserts, and then tell us what you made here.
So these are Philly cheesesteak pinwheels. So we have puff pastry down here.
I was wondering how you were going to do this.
I love a good pinwheel.
I know.
So we have puff pastry, and then I put out some provolone cheese, and then this is just like a shaved steak, not like steakums, like the fresh shaved steak.
Hey, I don't have a problem with steakums. They're actually really good.
And you could use those. I just got like the fresh, shaved ribeye and just sauteed that up. Do you want to put this down on here?
And then I see you have some peppers and onions over there.
Peppers and onions here that I sauteed as well. And then we'll just put that all over top too. And then we're going to roll it up. Think like jelly roll style, or if you've made
like a cinnamon roll.
So super simple, and you can really do this with any flavor profile. And then I made a little dipping sauce, a horseradish cream sauce to go with it, because
I should do a little quality control of
because you're extra and we love it.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're making these at home though. Once we get, do you think that's enough peppers?
Go
Maybe
for
a little
it,
bit more.
whatever you want. It's
I
do
love
you,
peppers
Heather.
and onions. I
Me
do.
too.
I'm a big fan. Okay, there
and
we
it
go.
looks so pretty, the color scheme.
Okay.
And then we're going to roll it up, just like we said. And what were you saying? What about doing this at home?
So you're doing this at home. So when you have a little, is it egg wash there?
Egg wash, yeah.
Okay.
So think of it as like our tanning lotion. That's what's going to make it golden brown and delicious. And we're going to transfer this. We never want to cut on our sill pats here. So we're going to do that on a cutting board.
So you actually bake it cut. Okay.
Yeah, so then we're going to cut it about
Do you
a half
use
an
this?
inch. Yep.
Okay. Is this about right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Perfect.
Looks good.
And then we'll set it on our baking sheet, and we'll brush it with our egg wash, and then put it in the oven, 400 for like 15, 20 minutes until it's golden brown and delicious.
Those look so good.
And so, like, you could serve this at a party. You could have this I would have this for dinner.
You could
definitely.
Okay, we're having it today.
For sure.
Just so I can make sure that I'm doing this right. So we're gonna put this back on here. And when we do that, then where is the egg wash going on the side? Like
on the side and a little bit on top.
Okay, like this.
Yeah.
And you said how long in the oven?
15 to 20 minutes until it's golden brown.
Now, the egg wash, does that keep it together or does that brown it?
Well,
or
so
both?
the puff pastry just kind of puffs and cooks together, and the egg wash is what is going to make it golden brown.
Okay, I was going to say.
It would be a little blonde.
Is it so good?
It is so good. So savory.
I'm going to have one. Here's your plate, Mikey.
No, thank you.
And now to dessert.
Okay,
So tell us what we're doing for National Cocktail Day, too.
So we are doing an espresso martini cheesecake, a mini,
Oh, we love that.
a no-bake, too. So I did a couple of different vessels. So you could also do it in a martini glass if you want. But the base is Oreo, crumbs, and butter. And then we have some semi-sweet chocolate, Kahlua, and espresso powder all melted together.
Okay.
And we whip that up with the cream cheese.
Okay.
Okay. And then we make homemade whipped cream.
Tell me.
Never done that before.
I have.
You have?
I have, and it's actually, I think people are intimidated by it, but it's so simple. So simple.
So heavy cream, and we did some confectioner sugar, powdered sugar, whipped that up to stiff peaks, and then folded that all together for our cream cheese mixture.
Now, for the Oreos at the bottom here, do you just crush them, or how do you put them in that?
my food processor.
Okay, I see.
But you could put them in a Ziploc bag and just whack it.
There we go.
Whatever.
There we go.
If you're having a bad day, it's the way to go.
Are you eating yours with a fork?
I
Is
am.
that
Well,
the
because
correct way?
I just wasn't.
I
I
just
think you
kinda
could
went
eat it
in.
with your hands. I just was getting it all over. Tell us about your upcoming classes. And then summer camps are coming.
Summer camps. We released our kids' summer camps for the summer, and we will be releasing the rest of our classes for May and June and the rest of the summer as well. But summer camps coming up. I also have the kids' April Fool's class this Saturday. Remember last year I did the meatloaf muffins on the show for April Fool's? Well, we're doing those this Saturday for a kids class, all the April Fool's stuff. And then
I'll just try this really quick before we wrap.
I have these cute little spoons over
You're
here.
so fun, so creative. I don't know how you come up with all this stuff.
So good.
Good time getting creative in the kitchen, because this is actually from our boozy brunch that's coming up later in the month. Every dish has a little bit of alcohol in it.
Oh, every dish.
All right, thank you, Jen, so much. This is delicious.
Thank you for having me. All right, well, if you would like to check out the classes at Crate Cooking School or sign your kids up for one of the summer camp sessions, we'll have more information for you on our website.
I'll be here eating this. Mary, if you want one, I'll bring you one over.
Please.
I know you have work to do. But
yes. The weather's actually fairly quiet right now. We've had a very cold start to the morning. Clouds will increase and temperatures are warming up. I'll break it all down for you when we come back.
All right, Mary, I know the weather, it was warm for a little bit, and then all of a sudden it was cold this morning. It was freezing.
Literally freezing.
I was shocked. My windshield had the frost on it. I was like, we're not back here again. We can't be.
Lows in the teens are not fun. We had areas in the teens this morning. Our actual low temperature in Pittsburgh was 21 degrees. What worked in our favor, we had fairly calm winds, so it fell into the upper teens for some areas. If we did have really strong winds, we would have had single-digit wind chills, so it could have been worse.
It could have been worse.
Yeah.
And it might get worse again because we have how many more days of these 20s are you talking?
It's a roller coaster. Okay, so like lows overnight, mid-30s, then we're back to the 50s. Then Saturday morning will be our next really, really cold morning in the 20s. But it all leads to sunshine through the day, so it'll be a little bit better.
We're not okay over here.
We're not okay. We're freezing. So you're going to tell us
here too. She's not
cold.
okay.
She's bundled up.
I know. So cold.
So you're going to tell us a little bit about solar radiation, and does that play a part in all of this?
It does. So here's why we have the cold mornings. Okay, so the clear, cold nights explain. So we have solar radiation, which heats the ground during the day. So we have that higher sun angle. It's beautiful. All of that sunshine. We love it, right? But at night, the heat, it escapes back towards space when we have those clouds, right? They act like a blanket, keeping things warmer, and the clouds can re-emit some of that heat back to the surface. But on clear nights, the heat, it just goes right back up into space, and that's what creates these really cooler temperatures. So when we do have those clear, cold mornings, again, those clouds act like a blanket, keeping things warmer. So it leads to sunny days, a beautiful sunrise when we have those clear mornings, but it is very cold because that radiation escapes right back into space.
All right, all I know is this is a ride I don't want to be on anymore.
So again on Saturday, another really
cold morning. I want to get off of this ride.
Yes,
I don't like this roller coaster.
We're done with it.
I know. Yeah. Buckle up.
Thanks, you, Mary.
Okay, now listen, I don't know if you're on the internet, but a lot of people are saying we need you back on Bridgerton. Is there a chance you would ever return?
You know, it's funny you say that because I'm not on the internet.
Well, that's what they saying. They saying since you've been gone, honey, you and Daphne's storyline was it. So they need you back.
I'm going to have to take your word for it.
Okay, all right. Well, maybe we'll see you again.
Thank you very much.
What?
He left her on red.
He did.
What was that? Wow. I mean, it wasn't a yes, but it definitely wasn't a no. And let me speak for all of us, Regé-Jean. We would love to have you back on Bridgerton.
Season ever.
The best season.
All right, sometimes actors obsessed leave a show and the show is never really the same. That's where today's 3 o'clock drop comes in. Kiki B. Jones from Whammo is joining us to discuss the TV exits that we are not quite over yet, and that was definitely one of them.
He shaded her.
He said thank you very much.
Yes.
And
thank you very much.
Dropped the mic, exit stage left.
God, he's so good looking.
Let me tell you something. If you watch Bridgerton, I wasn't thinking about him.
Really?
I mean, I missed him, but then I was like, well, wait a minute, who's that? Oh, okay.
Oh, see, not
no.
So Sandra Rhimes, Shonda, whatever her name is, she made good.
I think so, but I don't know.
She made good for it. I mean, he cute, but
that was a good season.
I'm just saying, them Bridgerton brothers.
All right. Well, I thought this was a really good question because I think we all experienced this. For me, it was when Michael Scott left The Office.
Yeah.
They tried, but once Steve Carell was gone, it just never was the same.
For me, it's The Cosby Show. When Denise left, like they tried with Different World. When Denise left, I think they could have just let Sandra go. They should have just, Sandra should have left, and they should have kept Denise on, because nobody was coming for Sandra.
I have so many, but I think one of them is like the Aunt Viv.
Yeah.
When they switched out the Aunt Vivs.
She had everybody, they had everybody shooketh.
Like,
who was that?
Shooketh. Okay, let's get to Lori says when Dr. McSteamy, Eric Dane, and Dr. McDreamy, Patrick Dempsey, left Grey's Anatomy.
You know what? I wasn't a big Grey's Anatomy fan. I'm not sure why, because I love medical shows, but I do remember when that happened and people were in an uproar. What's so funny? What's the problem?
I'm shooketh, honey. What are you talking about?
I don't know what happened.
That's how you get into the medical. With that one?
No, it was ER that got me into.
Well, that was kindergarten, and then Grey's Anatomy was
it's kindergarten.
Sorry.
Christine says Charlie Sheen leaving 2.5 Men. The TV show lost the inside humor afterwards.
You need that chemistry, and that's the thing. Like when you lose that chemistry, it's gone.
Yeah.
Antoine Walker, the original, much like you, Mikey, the original Aunt Viv, Janet Hubert leaving The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air just wasn't the same for me with the new Aunt Viv.
Yep.
It's hard.
She wasn't funny.
No,
I
I didn't think she wasn't bad, but she just wasn't. it didn't hit the same.
I do feel like there were a couple sitcoms that tried to do this. Back in like the height of sitcom era, you were like, that's not. No,
remember on the soap operas, I don't know if I'm aging myself, but they would say, and playing the role of Mikey Hood is blah, blah, blah. And you're like, well, who is that?
Didn't they just do this? I haven't watched the latest season, which I think came out last year sometime, but The Witcher. Did you guys watch The Witcher?
No.
Sorry.
Okay. No. All right, but I think they replaced him, and everybody's like, no, it's not working for me anymore.
Joyce says definitely Mark Harmon as Gibbs on NCIS, followed closely by Peter Krause, is that right? As Bobby on 911.
Yeah, people are obsessed with those shows.
I mean, it's Mark Harmon. Wasn't he like the sexiest man alive back in 1820?
In the 1800s?
Did you just say 18?
Oh, did I say 18?
The 1800s.
I mean 19.
Wow.
90.
Wait, this is great because my kids are like, you were born in the 1900s.
I know. We're so old.
We're so old.
Gross. Maria DeBone, our PTL producer, says, Nina, and how do you say her last name? I know her. I watched The Vampire Diaries. Yeah, but she left The Vampire Diaries. That ended it.
So was it the same for you?
I don't know. No, I mean, it's hard, but you did have, I mean, the vampires were hot.
We developed these relationships with these characters, and then they're gone.
You get attached
That's not
to
fair.
them.
Should ask us first.
Jean Marie says they should.
You can't
take a survey.
Yeah, Jean
She says, I'm going back some years, but when John Ritter died and he was on 8 Simple Rules, it broke my heart. The show went on and they tried, but it was never the same. She said they tried. I guess that's all you can do is try. But
Danielle, what Rick Grimes died on The Walking Dead. I mean, did you guys watch Walking Dead?
No.
I've seen it, yes.
We are clearly, like, we have no TV connection.
But I love you.
I love you, too. We got to work on this relationship.
We just can't watch TV.
We can't watch TV
together. That's okay, though. It's a compromise some places. Bonnie, 90210 went downhill after Brenda left. Worse when
Brenda?
Luke Perry left. Shannon.
Doherty.
I know, but that's when it went down, when she left?
I don't know. I don't know.
She was the main character.
Wait, were you guys like 90210 or were you more of like a Melrose Place?
I was both. Yeah, you had to get them both in.
Yeah, I watched both.
Because they were back, they came on back to back.
Yeah.
Here's what was really strange for me. Tiffany Amber Thiessen was on Melrose Place, wasn't she?
Yes.
And that was really hard because I was Saved by the Bell girl. And I was like, we just saw you in high school.
Now she's grown.
Now you're grown up. Okay.
That does happen, Heather.
No, it does, but it was just weird to see her in those
replace. Yeah.
You were a child actor. Now I'm watching you have sexy time.
Yeah.
Jeremy says Topher Grace leaving that 70s show. Yes. Again, like you have this dynamic, you build up the dynamic. When someone leaves, that's part of that dynamic. You're done.
They
You
should
just
ask us
call it.
first. Stop
Just
making
call
these
it.
changes without telling us.
Yeah, how can we make that happen? I don't know.
No one's calling us.
No one's answering our calls.
Kiki, always good to see you.
It's good to see you, too.
Let's schedule some couch
TV
time.
time. We definitely
separately.
need to. Yeah, for real.
Still to come on Talk Pittsburgh. Who was Carrie, and why does her name tower over one of Pittsburgh's most iconic industrial landmarks? We're learning the forgotten history behind the Carrie blast furnaces.
And next, an artist who turns trash into true treasure. Boaz has her story, a new spin on community cleanup and creativity this spring cleaning week. We'll be right back. With the NFL draft a month away, Pittsburgh has been cleaning up as part of the Immaculate Collection project. But picking up trash is more than a recent trend. Boaz met up with a local who's been doing it for years, and collecting trash is just the beginning.
At least once a week, Carrie by slips on a pair of gloves, prepares a bucket, and grabs her mechanical accessory for what she calls some trash nabbing.
But I started calling it trash nabbing mainly because this tool I have is called the Nifty Nabber, and I was like, oh, so that's what I do. I go on walks and I nab the trash.
Oh, here's a wooden spoon.
Ooh.
Gosh, it's hard. You're really good with this controls. It's hard to get the smaller things. But that's a hard one.
That's a hard one. And that's why I wear gloves,
Right.
so if I can't get it, there we go. There's a big lid over there.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that's all me. This looks like an orange juice lid. So when did you first start trash nabbing?
During the 2020 pandemic, I was living in San Antonio at the time. City services weren't picking up litter. And then one day I saw this older couple taking a stroll with some pickers and were picking up trash as they went.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa. Ooh, here's a big piece.
Oh, yeah.
So I just started picking it up and just have not stopped.
Yeah.
And I started realizing when I picked up trash, there was litter that I didn't want to throw away. Either like interesting metal pieces or like a toy. I found a foot. And you know what's funny? I actually have a little collection of tiny shoes. Is that a shoe or a foot? I think that's
Foot in a
I think
shoe.
this is gonna go in my little teeny jar of little feet and shoes.
For Carrie, trash nabbing accomplishes a lot of things. It provides her with exercise, it's introduced her to her neighbors, and when thrift stores and art supply shops closed for the pandemic, it was a way to source material to create artwork.
And so when does that take form? Is it like you start picking up a lot of spoons and you're like, wait a second, maybe these spoons could be something, or no?
I don't know what I'm gonna make.
Yeah.
Like I'm not one of those artists that is like making the same stuff. So the last show I did lions. This show I'm doing suns.
Carrie's art show is up for 2 months at Commonplace Coffee in the Mexican War Streets, and she gave me a tour of her 10 trash-based celestial creations.
So I did one with straws, one with pencils, and then one with silverware and keys.
Oh, wow. And so how much time does this represent? Is this like weeks of trash nabbing? Is it months of trash nabbing?
So the materials I had were probably like a couple years worth.
Okay.
So like the pencils, I used to live near a school. So you get a lot of pencils if you live near a school.
Right.
Carrie's also a letterpress printer and zine maker, and she's created a series of trash-centric zines that are also on sale at the cafe.
What's the weirdest piece of trash you've ever found?
I didn't find it, my husband did and brought it home. It was a ceramic finger. That was weird. Yeah, there's definitely enemies of the trash nabber, and one would be wind.
Yeah.
Another would be lawn mowers. They mow things into a million pieces.
Oh, I hadn't even thought about that.
So like one like solo cup is suddenly mowed over and is 50 pieces.
Oh gosh, what a headache to pick up.
Carrie acknowledges that the amount of trash on our streets is depressing. Trash nabbing is a never-ending job, but she tries to stay positive. She's on the hunt for future art, and Pittsburgh streets are always full of surprises.
Oh, wow.
It's a dino car.
A car with a dinosaur?
I'm gonna put it in my collection.
Yeah.
Oh, Carrie is an angel. She's doing wonderful work. Thank you so much, Boaz, for bringing that story to us. And you can see Carrie buys trash art at Commonplace Coffee in the Mexican War Streets through April 30th. She's also leading a trash nab on Saturday, April 18th. Well, ahead on Talk Pittsburgh, Heather's got some good news to share today.
I mean, I would say that that's good news, isn't it? She's doing a lot of wonderful things. We are kicking off the second half of the show with stories that are making us smile this afternoon, like a festival for people who love art that's really out there. Talk Pittsburgh, we'll be right back.
Welcome back to Talk Pittsburgh. Thank you for spending your afternoon with us.
Ahead this half hour, it takes more than a title to lead a school. It also comes with vision, heart, and connection. Find out what a few area principals say truly makes the difference.
And they've stood for more than a century, but the story behind the Carrie Blast Furnace's name has remained mostly a mystery until now. Who was Carrie? That's coming up first. Let's get into some good news that has us talking. The University of Pittsburgh is opening new doors for students with the Doris Carson Williams Internship Program. Each year, 2 students will get a paid internship working directly with a community organization that supports small businesses and entrepreneurs. The program is named after Doris Carson Williams, the longtime president and CEO of the African American Chamber of Commerce of Western Pennsylvania.
And speaking of fresh ideas, the Pittsburgh Fringe Festival is underway. It's been going on since last weekend, runs through March 28th. It turns neighborhoods throughout the city into pop-up stages for bold and pretty unconventional performances. You'll find comedy, theater, puppetry, music, and spoken word from artists here in Pittsburgh and around the world. And in fact, if you were watching PTL last week, you saw us previewing this with Irene Malloy, who was on the show Grosse Pointe back in the day, like early 2000s. She talked about her time on that show, also performed for us here in the studio. She's a singer, songwriter now, really great. She was here last weekend
for it. That's really cool. All right, well, meanwhile, in Swissvale, historians are looking for the woman behind the smokestacks.
The Carrie blast furnaces, that is. So who was Carrie? KDKA reporter Christopher DeRose looked into it. Take a look at this.
At a ceremony on Thursday, local historians with the Rivers of Steel nonprofit organization that preserves the region's industrial history publicly answered for the first time who the Carrie blast furnaces were named after. And on what would have been her 163rd birthday, there was once again a celebration for the furnace's namesake, Carrie Clark.
So Carrie Clark was a wealthy white woman, and she came from a family that was really connected to industry. She was born in Ohio, but she grew up in Lawrenceville. She went to Vassar College, and she died very early at 25. But women are often erased from this industrial history. So we've been really putting together those stories.
In the late 1800s, it was common to name blast furnaces after wives, daughters, and sisters of mill owners. There was an Eliza furnace, as well as an Isabel, Jane, Dorothy, and Bernice. Historians were able to trace Clark's name to the ironworks after discovering an old newspaper article naming her the namesake and saying that she lit the first flames at the works. And while researchers have been able to find out much about Clark and her life recently, now they're asking for the public's help to try and not only learn more, but to potentially lay eyes on her for the first time since her untimely death in 1888.
We are very certain that there is an image of Carrie Clark that exists, but that's the one thing that we haven't found yet. So that's kind of our mystery that remains. We're beginning to place this woman's life together, but we haven't yet found a photo of Carrie Clark.
Interesting. So Chris joins us now to talk a little bit more about this. This is what I find so strange. So there's nothing. So a couple of pictures have trickled in.
Here's the interesting thing is they are looking for this photo, and the historians are saying it's got to be out there because she's from a wealthy, affluent family that would have had photos taken of them back in the day. But there are a bunch of different reasons that they don't know where these photos are or if they were even taken, but they think they're there.
Yeah, and I mean, you've really taken a deep dive with this story, and I mean, some other photos have resurfaced as of today. Was it today?
Well, I got them today.
You got them today. Okay.
They were given. Well, one thing we know, she got married in 1886. Let me get that date right. To a guy named Bartlett Arkell. Bartlett Arkell was the son of a very famous New York senator. So they got married and they moved up to New York together after they, tied the knot. And there he is, and this is an older photo of him. He outlived her by many, many years. And the tragedy is she dies in 1888.
So 2 years after?
2 years after the marriage. She's 25 years old. She dies, and they don't know why she dies because her death certificate doesn't really have a cause of death. So it is speculated by historians, and again, this is speculation, but she probably died from a complication to a pregnancy, which they would not have talked about in society back then. And because my big question was, why wasn't there a photo at this wedding? If this was the social event of the year, why wasn't there a photo? They're also speculating that the one child that she had came very close to that wedding date.
Oh, okay.
So potentially she was pregnant during the wedding. Again, speculation. They don't know that for a fact.
Right.
But that would have probably precluded a photo being taken.
Okay, I see.
But there has to be some photo somewhere. They did find the brother, though, which is interesting. His name is Thomas Clark. There he is.
Look at that.
So they found the photo. That's her younger brother, Thomas. And they're like, okay, we're piecing, it's this historical puzzle they're piecing together. So like we found the brother, we have the husband, we likely have other members of the family. The other interesting thing they were saying is going through all these archives, they probably have seen a photo of her, but it's not like labeled, that's Carrie.
That's Carrie.
So that's why they're calling on people. They need help finding her in the photo.
And based on what you've been able to find, you know that she was a beloved member of this area. Her body was actually sent back here to be buried?
Yeah, when that was the crazy thing, and I didn't have time to put it in the package, but she dies in New York suddenly. The family goes into mourning. They have her embalmed. They have her put on a refrigerated rail car, brought back to the city, and she's actually buried in Homewood Cemetery in the Clark Mausoleum.
Crazy.
So she was a beloved member of this family. So why isn't there a photo?
You know, I wonder, has the Rivers of Steel, I mean, are they working with the Heinz History Center? This feels so much like something is buried somewhere in the archives.
Somewhere, and hopefully so. I know they are working with a ton of different historians to try and figure this out, and they've got their own people working on it, but eventually someone is going to find a photo of Carrie.
Well, I figure if you're on the case, it's going to happen.
I did my Google search and I'm like, well, I don't see it.
Google doesn't find it.
Google doesn't have it.
Chris, really interesting.
Yeah.
Very cool. And we have a link to Chris's story at kdka.com/talkpittsburgh if you want to watch it again.
All right, still to come on the show, we're checking in with Christine Sorensen in the newsroom for your first look at the KDKA Evening News.
Plus, the MVPs are here, most valuable principals, that is, how these leaders are taking learning to the next level when Talk Pittsburgh returns. If you grew up with the privilege of having a great school principal, you know just how much they can change the course of a student's day, maybe even their lives. Sub-principals happen to rise above the rest. Locally, a few of these exceptional leaders were honored at a recent Pens game as Pittsburgh's most valuable principals for their commitment to students, teachers, and their communities. Joining us are two of the recognized MVPs. We have Dr. Brett Belowitz of Jefferson Elementary School and Dr. Kira DeWoollett of Avonworth High, along with Greg Baer from the Grable Foundation. And they're sharing what it takes to be a great principal and make a school thrive. And Greg, I really want to start with you first. Congratulations to both of you.
Thanks.
But Greg, tell us about the Grable Foundation, why it's so important to recognize principals.
How lucky are we?
Yeah.
So we celebrate education and kids and learning across this region. And together with the Allegheny Intermediate Unit and the Pittsburgh Penguins Foundation, have for a number of years been able to honor amazing principals who make a huge difference in our schools, as you just described. They create the atmosphere, they create the culture, and research documents incredibly well how a great principal, compared to maybe a less good principal, can help students achieve months of learning in their classrooms. And it makes sense because these teachers in their buildings want to be there. The kids want to attend and engage, and the parents want to be involved. And those ingredients are things that happen when you have great principals.
Dr. Belowitz, tell us a little bit more about what you do at Jefferson Elementary School and how you really set that tone for the day for the kids and the teachers.
Yeah, I mean, it starts with every good morning. You know, a wave of the day, a smile at the door. It just sets the tone, letting them know they have a space where they can be themselves, where they're valued, appreciated, loved, and seen. It just lets them have a space where they can make memories and make magic.
And Dr. I'm sorry, messed up your last name, DeWoollett, sorry. Tell us about what you do at Avonworth.
Well, I have the gift of engaging with teenagers as they figure things out. I get to celebrate the big wins. I get to be there, you know, helping them pick up pieces, and it's a gift. And some of the best teachers in the world. I get to see them figure it out and celebrate with kids.
It's really wonderful, and it truly does kind of create that whole, I mean, you're the bosses. Yeah. So if you have someone who's in charge, who's not hearing the teachers and the concerns that they have, or listening to what the students are saying, it can really change the course of that entire day and year for them.
Well, and it affects professional development, it affects curriculum, it's a cascading effect. But if you start from a place where, as you say, you have that manager, you have that symphony conductor who's pulling it all together and also bringing in the community, the families and others, that's where magic can happen, and that's what great principals do.
All right, I got to talk about the night at the Pens game. Yeah. How was that? Was it so cool?
Oh, it was incredible. And we don't often get to see that side of the world.
Right.
Our everyday lives is not that, so it was fun to have that moment.
Well, and we're talking about all the good today, but what are some of the challenges that you both face in your roles? Because I think that, you know, we don't get to peel back that layer ever and see what it actually takes to make things great for a kid and for a teacher.
Yeah, I think the dynamics have changed so much in education and what kids are bringing to the table every day. You know, we're not just behind the scenes, we're actively engaged, interacting with these students, the families. You know, our teachers come to the table with their own sets of challenges. So you're constantly managing those dynamics and just making a safe space for everyone to feel like they can thrive.
Right. And what about for you?
And helping students figure out that whoever they are is exactly who they need to be.
Yeah.
So the world is full of a lot of pressure, especially with high school students, and so helping them figure out that whoever that person is, we're going to be there to support them, is pretty awesome.
Yeah, and emails. Gosh, you guys have to get so many emails, huh? I am thinking it's not just about the safety too. We were talking just a couple months back about the cell phone bills that are coming through, and our kids not going to be able to have cell phones in schools, and then having to deal with that, and how do you implement things? Things are constantly changing through the course of a school year.
Yeah, it's always evolving. There's always some new dynamic that you have to be ahead of the curve, proactive, preventative about, but a part of that is just engaging the families as part of that process so that you can have a team approach.
And
oh, please.
No, just being honest with students. We don't have the answers. So constantly asking, like, how are you? What can we do to help? Students bring some of the best answers.
That's right, yeah.
Heather, you and I are parents, and what I think a lot of parents don't see are the tiny little details to which principals need to pay attention, and they're also the ones showing up extraordinarily early and going home way late because they've gone to the band concert, the sporting events. They're the ones always present. They must have avatars to be able to manage everything that's going on in their lives.
Well, plus you have the superintendents and the school boards and everybody in between. So we know you're working hard. So happy that you two, among others, were recognized. Thanks for being here with us today.
Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Well, still to come on the show, KDKA anchor Christine Sorensen is standing by in the news. Oh, it's John Shumway. Look at you, John. You switched hats. Sorry about that. The stories you don't want to miss tonight on the KDKA Evening News. Let's take a moment to find out what you can expect to see on KDKA TV News tonight at 4, 5, and 6.
Yeah, John Shumway is in our newsroom with some of the news stories our news team is working on. John?
Well, good afternoon, Heather and Mikey. Here are a few of those stories. First, the city is getting ready for the draft. We all know that. Well, we're going to tell you about some scams that are circulating as people are trying to get their hands on your money. Also, something that has the potential to affect every homeowner in Allegheny County. Today, County Council is going to be talking about doing another reassessment, and they want to make the reassessments a regular thing. What that could mean for your property taxes. And we are all, of course, happy that spring is here. Warmer temperatures, spring flowers and blooms. But you may not realize that some of the things in your home or in your garden can actually be toxic for your pets. So we're going to take a closer look on what you should watch out for so that cute little guy doesn't get hurt.
I know. You know what? I know my dog. He's like a part of the family. He's like my little kid. So I know for a lot of people, that's something that raises a lot of concern.
Yeah, without a doubt. And exactly the flowers. This is what you need to know. These are the flowers to watch out for. For instance, lilies. You know, this is Easter time of year and a lot of lilies are around, but they can be especially bad. And that's not all. So we'll tell you all the other flowers that you put in your garden or maybe bring into your home that you need to be mindful of with your pets.
Interesting. Thanks, Shum.
Sure.
Sorry, I confused with Christine earlier.
I know.
He doesn't look anything like
nothing like him. Okay. All right, still to come, we'll talk Pittsburgh. We're wrapping things up with your bus stop forecast and what's coming up on tomorrow's show.
The warmer weather, it's not far away. Another chilly start tomorrow, but not as cold as it was this morning. We'll wake up into those mid-30s at the bus stop, cloudy skies, but by the time the kids are getting home from school, we're back at 60 degrees. So we finally start to see those temperatures. Actually, 60 degrees is above normal. Our normal high should be into the low 50s, 51, 52 degrees. So we're finally getting back to the spring-like weather, but again, like I said earlier, we're not done with those cold mornings quite yet.
Slow but sure, though. 60 degrees, not bad.
Yeah.
Not bad.
And I know this is going to come up in the 4 o'clock newscast. We'll be talking a little bit more about it, but possibility for some strong thunderstorms coming our way on Thursday, too.
And 70 degrees.
Okay.
Okay. There we go.
Trying to find the brighter side of it.
Good news first. Got it. Mary, thank you. Coming up tomorrow on Talk Pittsburgh, spring is blooming early inside a Western PA home where dozens of orchids are being nurtured for the annual Orchid Show. Boaz introduces you to the passionate gardener behind these spectacular flowers.
Oh, pretty. And spring cleaning isn't just for your home. Your health needs a little reset, too. Dr. Natalie Gentili is here with the quick checkups and screenings you shouldn't skip this season.